In general, do you find that weekly paid interviews with athletes and coaches and managers are they good radio segments? Are they valuable to the listener? Is that something that you think is good for sports radio?
Depends on the player and the coach, and there's some that have been great. You know, we've had some that have been really good. You have some that are not so good. A lot depends on a lot just depends on the player and the coach, you know, and I don't think we need them ever.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they're necessary for us, for our product to be at its best. But I think hearing from the people who played the game and people who coached, if that person is like expository in what they say, if they're saying real things and they're answering real questions and they understand the context of what they're doing, I think it can be great. But there's also times where it's terrible, you know. So
Yeah.
so it just depends.
Yeah, and I think for maybe some smaller market stations, it probably makes a lot of sense. Like you're able to use it as a promotional tactic, saying
Sure.
that this player or coach is coming on. It feels somewhat unnecessary for WFAN.
I think again, it just depends on the context. Like our Kansas City station has Pat Mahomes on every week,
Yeah,
and Carrington Harrison has Pat Mahomes on every week. He's the best quarterback in football. The team is by far the dominant conversation in New York or in Kansas City every single week. Pat Mahomes would have to be pretty terrible on the air for it not to be valuable.
right.
Now, like if you could look at New York and you could say, well, what if they gave you Aaron Judge every week? It would be hard to say no to, even though Aaron Judge typically is pretty straightforward in his interviews. It would be very hard for me to say, because of his stature and how much he means, it would be very hard to say no. But there's very few athletes and coaches and managers that I think are of the stature that you take them whether they're good or whether they're bad. Most of them are, is this person a good person to talk to? You know, Jason Kelsey and Brandon Graham called in to WIP for years, but they're both like incredibly honest. They're both part of the fabric of the radio station, and they're interesting beyond the fact of who they are. So I think it depends on the situation.
Were you surprised by the uproar, or oh, I guess I'll ask if you saw the uproar after Andrew Marchand reported that Aaron Rodgers has been getting paid for his weekly spots on the Pat McAfee Show.
I wasn't surprised because I think people just don't understand how that works. It's just like it's behind the curtain.
Yeah,
Everybody, it's a coach, a manager, or a player who is coming on a radio station or a TV station every single week is either getting paid directly by the outlet or it is a contractual agreement between the team and the outlet that is in that person's contract. Every single one. There are some times when they call in just for the fun of it, like a one-off here and there, or a PR is lining something up. But if it's every week at the same time in the same place, they're getting paid. So, and I wasn't even that surprised that did Marchand even report the exact number?
he didn't report the exact number. He said wrote something about the fact that he's made over $1 million. I don't
Right,
think he was clear about whether that was per season or total.
right,
I think if it's total, it's definitely not, because this was Aaron's, I think, 4th season with McAfee.
right.
Like if he was making $250,000 a year, definitely not surprising.
No,
A
not at
million
all.
would probably be, I would assume, the record. But even still, considering what he's meant to that show the last couple of years,
Yeah, I mean, Pat McAfee's obviously successful on his own, but the amount of appointments and news and earned media that they have received based on that that appearance alone
right?
is likely worth every penny that they have spent on it. But again, if you think about quarterbacks in the NFL, how many, not because of star power, but based on what they say, would generate that sort of news? And it's really just because of who Aaron Rodgers is as an interview, and less his stature as a quarterback. I think it's like this combination where he's a great quarterback, obviously, and also says things. It's a combination, but he's clearly been worth it to them. So yeah, I guess I wasn't surprised because I don't think people understand that mechanic that players get paid, and coaches get paid, but it wasn't surprising to me that he did get paid.